DC Multiverse!
How's it going, everybody? Welcome back to the channel. I'm Brad, the DC Universe Geek, and welcome to my brief review of the McFarlane Toys DC Multiverse KON-EL Superboy. Here's the front of the packaging and the side, KON-EL Superboy. And here's the back of the box, which showcases an image that has been clearly ripped right from the era of the reign of the Supermen, and not the modern era, which this figure is from. Out of the box, this figure comes with absolutely nothing except for a trading card and an action figure stand, and the trading card is the exact same image as the back of the package, and the back showcases a short data file. The color palette for this guy, though, is fantastic with the red, the yellow, and the blue, and the black of the jacket. He comes with his stompy combat boots, his fashionable leg strap pocket pouch, his punk rock belt and fingerless gloves, along with his edgy, shiny pleather punk rock jacket. The big S on the back is accurate to today's version of Superboy, as well as those patches on the shoulders. He looks like he sewed them on there himself. Here he is compared to Superman in my custom version of John Kent Superboy, and here he is with another Superboy figure, the classic DC Universe Classics. I don't have the DC Direct, so here's a picture of it next to him. I feel like in hand we have a pretty accurate and fantastic representation of the Connor Kent that we all know and love in current comic book continuity. The S on the back seems to be nicely done, and the paint on places like his shoulder, his belt, both of his knee pads, and his gloves have been pretty well done. As for that facial sculpt, I think that it looks pretty good actually. At first I was like, I'm not really sure if I like this too much, but it actually looks A, fairly tidy, and B, quite a bit like the source material as well. I will say I do wish there was some sort of texture to the shaven portions of Kon-El's head, but that's not something to complain and cry about, it's just a little nitpick on my own part. The next question is, at this point, how articulated is he? Well, he does share some parts with the previous John Kent Superboy figure, so he's going to have a fairly similar range of articulation, but the jacket is also going to be a thing that gets in the way. So the torso will have the articulation that John Kent has, and it's actually, once you work it in, it's fairly usable. The same thing with the waist, only if you push him too far to a flight pose, oh no, his chest grows a mouth. Nom, nom, nom. And that's roughly what you're going to get as far as the body goes, unless, of course, you push it so that it's nomming, like that. The ball-pegged head gets a great range of motion in every single range that you'd expect. Even up, that's okay. I wouldn't call that great, I suppose. I would say that's fair. That's a fair range of motion upwards. He's got some pretty good articulation as far as the shoulders go. T-pose, which for me is all I ever expect, as well as that full round motion. And he does actually have a little bit of motion this way as well. Double jointed elbows, crunchy enough for me, rounded hinge in the wrists, full range of motion totally for these arms. Down here below the belt, he's got, ooh, hear that? So he's got the clickety groin here, and it has in, out, about that, goes all the way out. It's not terrible. It's actually pretty good. Could be better. I say the same thing all the time about the groins here. We have the knees crunching about that, and we have the ankles for these boots, and that's what we're looking at there with the toe articulation, and of course he's got the pivot here. It is nice that while we're doing the articulation, I want to point out here, it is nice that he does have the boot, the rounded hinge, and then the foot here, and they've actually sculpted the rounded hinge, typically what would be a rounded hinge, to look like the boot. So that's cool. So now that we've looked at everything, the figure, the comparisons, the articulation, what do I think about good old Kon-El Connor Kent Superboy? I like him. I like him a lot. He's probably one of my favorite multiverse figures to date because A, I like the character. I'm a softie for the character in the first place. And B, they've actually done a pretty good job of representing the character that is in question. In this case, Connor Kent Superboy. I think he looks fantastic. He's going to look great on my shelf. He has reasonable articulation, and I couldn't highly recommend him anymore. Anyway, that's all I have for today. Thank you so much, and I'll see you next time. Bye for now.